All right guys, today we dodged a huge bullet. Day one and everything went right. I can't believe that we actually own the Tatra. Come on into Prague, the Pebble headquarters, and I'll tell you all about it. It's been quite the exciting day, and I want to share this news with you. I have always wanted to do that. Yes, I am here at the Denver airport at the United Club because I fly a lot, and I am about to head off to Prague to pick up the Tatra, to drive it from Prague all the way to Bremerhaven, Germany, with a few special stops in between, including hopefully the Skoda museum and plant, as well as the Volkswagen plant, because the fine folks at Skoda and Volkswagen are helping us out on this long road trip. So, welcome to Prague, and if I look tired, it's because I am tired. 22 hours from Denver to get here to Prague, and we are feeling, well, superb, and that's because the fine folks at Skoda have given us this Skoda Superb 4x4 diesel as our chase vehicle. Now, this is the most expensive, I think, nicest car that Skoda makes in the range, and it's going to be a fine vehicle to chase us from here all the way to Bremerhaven as we drive the Tatra 603. And I don't see a tow hook, but the Superb is going to be a superb chase car. So, yeah, I'm tired. I think it's time for a nap. It's been a long flight, but we're here and the adventure is about to begin. I'll see you soon. Prague is my hometown. In case you're wondering, I was born here in 1963, and when I was 5, my parents were on vacation when the communists invaded in '68. They were in Switzerland, and the communists used to keep the kids with an insurance policy to make sure that the parents would return. Well, on Christmas Day of '68, my grandfather bribed some people, and I was lucky enough to get out, to escape. And if you're wondering, the Tatra is also a 1968 model, so there's a special meaning for that year, for me, for being here. And I'm hoping that you're starting to see why this is such an important journey for me. This is a Skoda. In fact, it's the top of the line Skoda, the Skoda Superb. And I'm driving it because Volkswagen was kind enough to give this to us as a chase car for the Prague to Pebble or bus. But this is the car that we really care about. the Tatra 603 that TFL is now the proud owner of. And I'm up here at the top of, well, it's not the top of the world, it's a hill called Ještěd, near Liberec, which is about 115 kilometers outside of Prague, where we just purchased this car. Now we're going to take the Tatra, we're going to drive it to Prague and officially start the journey, but really officially it starts up here, and we wanted to bring you up here and show you the two stars of the show, the Škoda and of course the Tatra. Alright guys, I am now the official owner of a 1968 Tatra 603. Me and Mr. Bushek did all the paperwork. I'm going to do this. Mr. Muďák.
Ne, to bude dobrý, to vyjde. Já jsem to seštoloval, to když vy jste...
Okay, alright, we got it. I am the official owner of this particular Tatra. And we are here in Liberec, where I'm going to go take it for my first official ride as the owner. So, like that. And Dika Nahoru? Yes? Alright, here we go. With this car, one of them is second gear. It doesn't like to go to second gear, but that time it was very easy. Wow. It's a volant trochu tady není rovný, jo?
Prosím.
Volant trochu tak sivo. The steering wheel, that's to spravit, is a little crooked.
Já jsem to nevím vůbec, a já myslím, že to je problém,
jo?
Protože tady ty volanty jsou nějak na to nahoře tady je na pero.
Jo. Maybe harder to fix than it seems. So once again, it's more of a driver's car than a trailer car. It's really beautiful here. Very beautiful. Horn works. From up here you can see the top of the world, or at least the top of the Czech Republic. We're at over 1,000 meters in elevation. That way is Germany, and that way is Prague, or Pebble Beach if you think about it. So thousands of miles that way is our goal. And Pebble Beach, here we come. All right guys, here we go. We are off to Prague, about 115 kilometers, 70 or 80 miles or so, in the Tatra. So I'm gonna let go of the brake here. Hopefully I can grab first gear. That's third. Let's try that again. Let's see if that's first. The weak point in this car by far is the transmission. Not just this car, but any Tatra, because the transmission is actually way back there, and I've got this little tiny stalk that's supposed to control it all. And needless to say, it's not a perfect solution. I think there's something like over a dozen links between the front of this car, this little stalk, and the transmission, and so you can break it. Plus this Tatra has a second gear that, well, likes to grind, speaking of which. So like I say, the weak point in this thing is always going to be the transmission, and hopefully I can baby it enough to get it to Pebble Beach, because we certainly can't replace the transmission. Whoops, there we go, on the way to Pebble Beach. So keep your fingers crossed. comfortable. It just glides over potholes. You can barely feel them. It's also extremely stable in a straight line. With all that weight hanging on the back, I don't want to take a turn quick, but in a straight line, this thing is phenomenal. Road feel, not much. I know it's there. I mean, I'm going along. The engine kind of sounds like a giant vacuum cleaner in the back. There's a lot of raw mechanical noise. You can hear the induction of the thing. You hear it? Sucking in air. And these two big turbines that cool the engine off. And there's a little light here that turns on if those turbines aren't working. Basically, if the drive belts break. If that happens, you don't drive another foot or meter in this case, because you will fry the engine. At least Mr. Bushik told me that because he had experience with that himself. He did that. And my God, everybody stops and looks at you. Every car that comes by is amazed. There was a guy in a Audi R8 who came by and was gawking at me. I'm like, dude, you got the R8. I've got the old Tundra, and you're the one looking at me. So yeah, I'm very blessed. I'm very fortunate to be able to start this experience off, this great road adventure, and share it with you. Will we make it to Pebble Beach? I don't know. But you know what? We're going to try. By hook or by crook, we're going to try. And we're going to have some great adventures along the way. We're going to take you with us. Tomorrow, we visit the Skoda Museum. Check that out. And then it's off to Wolfsburg, where we're going to go check out the Volkswagen plant and the Volkswagen Museum. And then put the car on the boat and the journey really begins, because in America is when Nathan comes aboard, the rest of the team joins us. And we really see how a communist era car does driving across North America. And I'm willing to bet that there are less than a dozen Tundras in all of North America, at least 603s. Alright guys, today we dodged a huge bullet. Day one and everything went right. I can't believe that we actually own the Tundra. Come on into Prague, the Pebble headquarters, and I'll tell you all about it. It's been quite the exciting day, and I want to share this news with you. So, here's what happened. We almost weren't able to take possession of the car because there's a lot of logistics that have to happen when you're trying to drive a car across Europe and of course across America. And this is it. This is our huge headquarters, and this is all the ownership papers. The result of probably about a month of hard work. Come on over here, I'll tell you about it. Coolest thing that I own right now, or that we own, besides the car of course, is this. This is called the Technický průkaz, or basically kind of the ownership papers of the car. And what's really cool about it is, if you look here, it's got the complete history of everybody who's owned the car. And I think we are now the 5th owners. Check this out. See the little check line there? It's got the star above its head. That's when this was communist. That was representing the Russian communist star above the head of the Czech lion. So you know that this car was manufactured under the communists. There's one guy here who owned it from 1977 to 2000, which was right through the Velvet Revolution in 1991, I believe. And then, check this out. Here are a bunch of cool pictures of the car, but the coolest one perhaps, let me get that for you, is over here. The owner gave us these. This is what the car looked like after it was restored. And perhaps the scary one is, this is what it looked like before it was restored. So whoever had it up to about 2000 probably let it deteriorate a little bit. I mean, look at that. So here's what happened and how we dodged a bullet. We went to the police station to officially change ownership of the car for me and TFL to become the owner. And we got there and there were, I don't know, so many people in line that we had to go to a machine and push a button to give us a number so that we could actually have the police give me a new number plate and take ownership of the car. The machine said, "You're out of luck. We have no more numbers." And I was like, oh my God, what did we do? So we found a woman who worked there and who said that there is nothing, of course, in a typical communist sort of era way that she could do about it. we'd have to go online. So we went online. The next appointment, 14 days. It was 14 days, and we're only here 5 days, which meant flying back to America and coming back in 2 weeks to actually go do the official paperwork. And so we were completely hosed. And we're talking about this, me and Mr. Bushik, the previous owner, and this woman overhears us, and I said, I can't come back. I'm from America. And she said, you know what? I came in this morning and I got 2 numbers by accident, and I threw one away in the toilet. I'm like, you have a number? You have a number to go? And she goes, yes. And she said, let me go check in the bathroom. So I'm sitting there on pins and needles. The bathroom's occupied. I'm afraid that somebody else is going to get the number. She comes out and she gives us the golden ticket. And we had a number to get in line to change ownership. And 2 hours later, after dealing with all the insurance, because you have to have insurance to drive the car, I own the car, and TFL is on the way to Pebble Beach. Now, there are some issues with the car. Mainly, second gear is on its way out. The engine is still smoking, and the Tatra is certainly not limping, but on its way to limping. But you know what? That's a driver. And if we can get it all the way to Pebble Beach without using second gear or without having to use second gear too much, then so be it. That's part of the adventure. Hey guys, we're about to go right through the center of Prague in the old Tatra. I'm giving my aunt and uncle and of course Tommy a ride.
Hey!
And this is where the journey begins. Prague, we're right downtown. And the really cool thing about driving this Tatra through downtown Prague is there's a river, is that people give me a huge break, because sometimes I don't quite shift right. Sometimes the Tatra is a little bit slow off the line, and yet people love this car. They give me huge thumbs up. Everybody who sees it smiles. In fact, the guy just dropped a cigarette when we drove by. It's kind of like driving, I don't know, maybe a Model T in America. I mean, this car is
very well loved.
Yeah, very well loved. And really what this journey is about is bringing this car back to life. Because let's face it, the car that's parked in the garage, especially a classic car, and not driven, is on its way to deathbed. And sometimes a car that's in a museum is in hospice. The best thing you can do is actually put the car on the road and just drive it, warts and all. So what if second gear is on the way out? So what if the engine smokes a little bit? This thing is alive and well, and it's bringing joy to everybody in the car and a lot of people on the outside of the car as well. How cool is that? Alright guys, we're going to turn right here and we're going to give this Tatra the last glimpse of its hometown, because we're going to cross the river, and right across from us you can see the castle, and we're going to go from Old Town to the castle area, Malastrana, for the last time in this Tatra before we head way west, and I mean way west. This particular Tatra spent a lot of its life here in Prague, and I know that because the technical papers say so. They say where the owners live. And of course, the owners were probably directors of firms or some government bigwigs. So I'm sure it's very comfortable here. I'm sure this isn't the first time that this Tatra has come through the middle of Prague, but certainly for me, it's the first time driving this car through the middle of the city. And it's a little daunting, a lot of traffic. Welcome to Malostranské náměstí, not quite the center of Prague, but pretty darn near. It's the area underneath the castle, and I'm here because this is the kickoff, the official kickoff from Prague to Pebble Beach, because this is Prague and the next stop is Pebble Beach. Tomorrow we go to Wolfsburg, Germany, Bremerhaven, Baltimore, and then the adventure really starts. And I wanted to give the old Tatra 603 a last taste of its hometown before we leave here forever. But you know what? That's what this is about. It's about bringing cars to life. A car dies in the garage, it's in hospice in the museum, and this is a living and breathing thing. Now, while you probably may have never heard of Tatra, the brand that you may have known that's built right here in the Czech Republic, and actually Mladá Boleslava, where we're at, is this, the Škoda. Of course, this is the Škoda Felicia, and I have a story to tell you about this. When I was here after the Velvet Revolution, I almost bought this car. It was cheap, $2,000. I drove up in it, my wife saw me, and she almost fell over laughing because I looked like I was driving a bathtub. Now these cars, they're worth about 20,000 euros. Should have bought it back in the 90s. But since we're here at the Škoda Museum, let's take a look at the other brand that the Czech Republic builds. And that is coming up next on this next episode of From Prague to Pebble or Bust.